You wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and tell yourself, I am successful, I am powerful, I am unstoppable. You say it again and again, hoping that if you repeat it enough, the universe will bend to your will. But days pass, weeks, months, and nothing changes. The bank account stays the same. The opportunities don't materialize. The dream life remains just out of reach. So you start to wonder, are affirmations just another lie? Another empty promise sold to the desperate? Here's the truth. Affirmations don't work. At least not the way most people use them. Because if all it took was repeating pretty words into a mirror, then every man who ever whispered, I am rich, would be swimming in gold. But they're not. And you know why? Because affirmations are not magic. They are not wishes. They are not a shortcut. Affirmations are a battle cry, a declaration of war against the doubt that has lived inside you for years, a rebellion against the voice that says you can't, you won't, you'll never. Affirmations are not about convincing the universe. They are about convincing yourself. And if you don't understand that, then you've missed the entire point. Think of Thomas Edison, a man who failed thousands of times before he invented the light bulb. Do you think he woke up every morning and said, I am a failure? No. He said, I am learning. I am getting closer. I am unstoppable. But here's what he didn't do. He didn't just say it and wait. He acted. He experimented. He persisted. His affirmations were not a substitute for effort. They were the fuel that kept him going when logic said to quit. That's the first law of real affirmation. They must be backed by belief. Not hollow repetition, not desperate chanting, belief, deep, unshakable, marrow-deep belief. Because the mind is not a trick to be fooled, it is a fortress to be conquered. And if your affirmations are nothing but empty words, your subconscious will laugh at them, it will resist, it will cling to the old story, the one that says you're not good enough, not smart enough, not destined for greatness. So how do you break through? You don't just say it, you prove it every single day. Henry Ford said it best, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's the power of belief. Not as a fantasy, but as a foundation. When Ford decided to build the Model T, the world told him it was impossible. The experts laughed, the critics mocked. But Ford didn't just affirm his vision, he lived it. He worked 16-hour days, he risked everything, he acted as if his success was inevitable. That's the difference. Most people treat affirmations like a prayer, whispered hopes thrown into the wind, waiting for some external force to answer. But real affirmations are a command, a decision, a refusal to accept anything less than what you've declared. So ask yourself, do you believe it? Not just when it's easy, not just when the sun is shining and the world is on your side, but when the storm hits, when the doubt creeps in, when the evidence says no, but your soul screams yes. That's when affirmations become real. That's when they become power. Now let's talk about the how, because there's a science to this, a method, a way to make your words stick in your subconscious like a blade in stone. First, specificity. You don't just say, I am rich. You say, I am a master of wealth. Money flows to me effortlessly. I attract opportunities that multiply my income. You paint a picture. You give your mind something to latch on to. Second, emotion. Words without feeling are just noise. But when you feel it, when you see the bank statement in your mind, when you taste the freedom, when your body vibrates with the certainty of it, that's when the shift happens. Third, repetition. Not just in the morning, not just when it's convenient, but constant. In the car, in the shower, before you sleep. You bombard your mind until the new belief replaces the old one. And fourth, the most important of all, action. Because an affirmation without action is self-deception. You don't just say, I am a millionaire and then spend frivolously. You don't just say, I am healthy and then eat garbage. You align your behavior with your words, you become the person you're affirming. This is where most people fail. They want the reward without the work, the title without the sacrifice. They think affirmations are a way to skip the struggle, but the struggle is the transformation. Look at Michael Jordan, cut from his high school team, told he wasn't good enough. But he didn't just say he was the greatest. He proved it. Thousands of hours in the gym, thousands of missed shots, thousands of moments where he could have quit. But his affirmations weren't just words, they were promises. Promises he made to himself, and he kept them. That's the secret. Affirmations are not about getting what you want. They're about becoming who you need to be to deserve it. So ask yourself again, Who are you affirming? The old you, the one bound by fear, by past failures, by the opinions of others, or the future? You, the one who already has the power, the discipline, the unbreakable will? Choose. Because the truth about affirmations is simple. They don't work unless you do. Now go. Speak it, believe it, live it, and watch how the world bends to meet you. The greatest lie ever sold is that affirmations are passive, that you can whisper your desires into the ether and wait for destiny to hand them to you. But destiny doesn't work like that. Destiny is not a giver, it's a responder. It answers to those who demand more from themselves. Take Abraham Lincoln, a man born into poverty, haunted by failure, written off by the world. He didn't just hope his way into the presidency. He affirmed his vision with every speech he gave, every book he read, every loss he endured and rose from. His affirmations weren't wishes, they were weapons. Weapons he used to cut down every voice, internal and external, that said you will never be enough. That's the second law of real affirmation. They must be forged in fire, not in comfort, not in safety, in the struggle, in the moments when everything in you wants to quit, but you speak your truth anyway. When the world says no and you say, watch me, because here's what no one tells you. Affirmations are not just about building belief. They're about destroying doubt. And doubt doesn't die quietly. It fights back. It reminds you of every time you failed, every time you fell short, every time you promised yourself change and then retreated to the familiar. So how do you kill it? You outwork it. You outlast it. You speak your affirmations louder than your fear can scream. Steve Jobs stood in front of a mirror every morning and asked himself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do? And if the answer was no too many days in a row, he changed something. That's the power of a true affirmation. It's not just a statement. It's a standard, a line in the sand that says, this is who I am. This is what I accept. Most people never draw that line. They float through life on autopilot, repeating affirmations like a mantra, but never living them. They say, I am disciplined, but hit snooze. They say, I am fearless, but avoid risks. They say, I am abundant, but clutch their pennies like lifelines. The universe doesn't respond to contradictions. It responds to conviction. So here's the test. If you stripped away every word you've ever spoken and only looked at your actions, what would they affirm? Would they affirm courage or comfort? Would they affirm growth or fear? Because your subconscious knows the truth. It knows the difference between performance and power, and until your actions match your words, your affirmations are just noise. Now, let's talk about the enemy. Not the doubters, not the naysayers, the silent enemy, the one that lives in your comfort zone, the one that whispers tomorrow, the one that says you've got time. Time is a lie. Theodore Roosevelt didn't wait to become a leader. He acted like one long before the world saw him as one. He read voraciously. He trained his body. He pushed himself into discomfort daily. His affirmations weren't separate from his life. They were his life. That's the third law. Affirmations must be lived before they're realized. You don't attract success by wanting it. You attract it by embodying it, by making decisions from the place of the person who already has it. So ask yourself, what would the future you do right now? Would they waste time or invest it? Would they complain or create? Would they follow or lead? Every choice is an affirmation. Every action is a declaration. Now, the final truth, affirmations are not about changing your life. They're about changing you. And when you change, your life has no choice but to follow. So stop waiting for the proof. Be the proof. Speak it. Mean it. Let it. And watch how the world obeys.